Good evening and welcome to Frederick Bomber Football 1994 on KYB. Frederick Bomber Football brought to you by the Cabbage Patch, Oxford Limited, Great Plains Area Votech, the Pizza Hut, Bird Dog Enterprises, Cassidy Grain Company, Coy's Discount Foods, Frederick Furniture and Appliance, Anderson Oil Company, the Frederick Funeral Home, 3KB Transportation, Sweet Magnolias Antique Mall, Harper's Restaurant, Farmers Co-op Grain and Cotton Company, Frederick Florist, Agri Plus, Dad's Convenience Store, the Bank of Oklahoma, Frederick Cablevision, Charlotte's Grill, Frederick Lumber Company, Hoppensack, the City of Frederick, First Southwest Bank, and Frederick Auto. And now, Frederick Bomber Football 1994 on KYB.
We're live from Frederick, Oklahoma, and Bomber Bowl, and welcome to the 1994 second round of the playoffs, Frederick versus Plainview Indians, a rematch from earlier in the season where Frederick was able to come back or come away with a 35-7 win. And this will be a very interesting rematch, Alan. This is Mike Hagee, Alan Gann, John Stevens, Jodine Hilburn, as the Bombers come out of a tunnel full of smoke that was built especially for this game tonight. And they will be running on the field led by Jim Strickland and the spirit of FHS. Alan, what a colorful atmosphere out here tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, the field is absolutely beautiful. They've worked on it all week long. It's, I believe, as good as it ever looked. The rain has stopped, the smoke's still in the air, and the Bombers, I think, are ready to play football tonight.
Let me describe a little bit to you. The Bombers just ran out of a plastic tarp-like tunnel that was full of smoke. When they came out, the Plainview Indians will be coming out. They have a teepee set up with smoke coming out of this, so you're missing quite a show here. Every adult paid $4 to get into this, and I can tell you right now, this is better than any show in the state of Oklahoma. The captains have already come out, and Plainview is won the toss and is going to receive and defend the south goal. So the Bombers will be kicking off as Bombers already on the field, attired in their red jerseys, red helmets, and black pants, and the Plainview Indians will be, as we're ready to get underway, then we have 5 new officials. One thing to point out, officials cannot call, once an official calls the ball game in one playoff game, they cannot call that same team again. So we have a new group of officials, and might point out the officials are assigned, Alan, by the Activity Association. Frederick is hosting the game, but actually this is a game sponsored by the Oklahoma Activity Association, and they do assign the officials.
That's right, Mike. You don't, as the Frederick school system or the coaching staff, you don't have the option of hiring the officials that come into this game. Like you said, the Oklahoma State Athletic Association, they do that. They appoint them. They do that simply, I think, for the reason in the playoffs there's a lot of critical games scattered out all the way across the state, and they try to group the officials supposedly into the more experienced officials, and they assign them scattered out across the state.
Back for deep for the Plainview Indians, as the Bombers will be kicking, is Brian Cook along with number, I believe, Brandon Seifert. Brian Seifert also deep back there. So Bombers last time they played tried to keep that ball away from Brian Cook and Seifert, and we'll see how they do this as Blake Bolton kicks off. He has a deep kick, and it will be taken right at the goal line, and I believe that will be Cook, and Cook will be stopped right at the 15-yard line, and that was a very, very good coverage on that kick as Brian Cook's able to get it back. They'll probably spot that about the 18-yard line now as the ball's put down.
Well, Terry closed on him rather quickly. Good tackle.
Seifert in at quarterback, and Alan, these numbers for the Indians are awfully hard to read, but Brandon Seifert will be the quarterback as Longcamp pitches back to fumble. There's a fumble on the play, and I believe that Seifert recovered his own fumble And Alan, that could be in a key turnover as they pitched the ball back to Brandon Seifert. And folks, if you hear me say Seifert pitched to Seifert, then that is no mistake.
Boy, Mike, I tell you what, I would have give up my salary tonight if the Bombers could have got that ball deep in Indian territory.
Well, we just doubled it, Alan. It ends up being a gain of 1, brings up a 2nd and 9. Brian Seifert, the quarterback. Nicky Faulkner is the fullback, and Brandon Seifert is the tailback. Brandon Seifert injured the first time the Bombers played, and he is their money man for the Indians. Hand off to Seifert up the middle, and Seifert will be hit by Hughes. Might have got a 2-yard gain. He's still shy of the 20, along with Cheyenne Clark. And the Bomber and Tony Wiley doing a good job.
Well, I tell you, excellent coverage there by the Bomber defense.
Brings up a 3rd and 7, and we'll see the first passing situation if they try to run a draw or try that little drag over the middle that was so successful in the last ball game. Seifert's back to pass under a little pressure, now throws, and it will be incomplete, intended for Brian Cook, as Brian Seifert, the quarterback, was going around his right side, and Cook was open, but the ball was just a little bit high, and in these conditions could not hold on. I might tell you that it is not raining now, and really it's turned into a very good night, very, very little wind. He's short man, and for the Indians will be number 83, Billy Beecher. Beecher's kick is a high kick, and it will be taken by Ben, and he has to go to a knee. Didn't call fair catch, but as he caught the ball, he had to go to a knee to get it, and he will take it right at the 41-yard line.
39 yards.
And it was a 39-yard kick. The Bombers will have their first offensive opportunity at the 41.
About the Marlowe game, every week they've gotten better on that first defensive series. They showed it right there.
And Hilburn goes out to the left, Allen in the slot. Ben and Kevin Isham behind Gaston, the quarterback. And there's the draw play, the veer play to Ryan Ben, and he slants over the right side, and he will get down to about a 5-yard gain, brings up a 2nd and 5. Good read by Gaston as he was hit immediately on the option play after he handed off to the first man through. Brings up a 2nd and 5 as it begins to rain a little bit. There's a pitch to Ryan Ben. He has the corner, and he will get close to the first down. As might remind you, the Plainview Indians are very swift. They have a lot of speed, and Ryan Ben will get very close to the first down mark. I believe he will be short as he was knocked out of bounds, and they'll evidently didn't get a very good spot over there. It'll be a 3rd and 2. As they say, he went out of bounds about 2 yards shy of the first down. So here's the first 3rd down opportunity. Hilburn comes out to the right. Gaston looking over. There's a handoff to Isham. Isham will get what appears to be the first down, and we'll wait for the spot as it looked like he had enough to slice through. We'll see where they put this ball down.
Yeah, you don't need to wait, Mike. I can tell you from right here, that's first down. Can't be any other way.
Well, the referee has decided that they will be sure, and they are bringing the sticks out right now. And, Alan, this is a contest that the Bombers need to control the ball on offense because that will be the best defense against Seifert. It is a first down by about 2 foot, and Eagle Eyes Alan Gant is correct. Now the ball is resting just across deep here, go for a big play. Ty Simmons goes out to the right, to this side. Tight end is also to the right. Ben and Isham in the backfield, split backfield. There's a quick pitch and a fumble, but Ryan Ben is able to pick it up as very nearly the same thing that happened to Seifert on the other end when the Indians had it, but Ryan Ben was able to get about back to the line of scrimmage, but it's washing. But the Bombers have decided they're going to substitute, so Ryan Ben goes out. Blake Bolton comes in as they're going to wash this contact of Ryan Ben's off and brings up a 2nd and 10. And no gain after that fumble. Bombers very fortunate to get it back. Gaston looks over the defense. There's a handoff to Blake Bolton, and Bolton will be stopped right at the line of scrimmage and maybe loss of about a foot as the Plainview Indians are celebrating on that loss, doing all kinds of consortions to their home crowd over there, as they are
3/4 full maybe, and they, just like I said, a big senior team, a lot of momentum coming in here. It's going to be up to Frederick to take that away from them.
Hilburn and Allen come out to the right side as Kevin Isham comes in motion. Gaston comes around under pressure. Now he's going to throw, and it will be incomplete. And there is a flag as the Plainview player reached around, and the referee right there didn't throw it, but the deep back judge came in and threw that, so that was clearly pass interference, and that will be a 15-yard penalty assessed against the Indians.
And Mike, they can't complain about that flag. He was there before the ball, had his hands all over him, and like you said, the judge comes from back out behind to throw the penalty, but it doesn't matter to me which one throws it, we'll take it.
Well, actually, that is even though it happened in front of this referee, the referee that threw the flag would be the one that would be proper for him to throw the flag. Paul is not very happy, but the young man put his hand on the shoulder pad and kind of used it as a stepping stone to go up after it, so clearly a pass interference, but it will be 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line. Hand off to Isham up the middle, and he will explode through across the 30 down to the 26-yard line, as he had just a little bitty crack in that front line, but he was able to squeeze through and run by. And he ran right behind Clay Johnson and William Martin and Brandon Phillips. He'll bring up a 2nd and let's call it 3. Ball across the 30 down to about the 28-yard line. Again, the option play to Ryan Ben, and Allen, this will be for short gain. Number 9 for the Plainview Indians, that's Jamie Shirley, is knifing in there trying to prevent that exchange on them
about every time the ball snapped.
And it will be short of the first down, be a 3rd and about 2 foot, less than 1. As the Bombers had converted the 3rd down play last time, we'll see if they're able to do it here. There's a fumble on the play, and I believe that the Plainview Indians have it. There is a scramble. Is it still there? But evidently the Plainview Indians have it, because number 18 comes up with the ball in his possession. And again, that was just a bad pitch there, or the pitch was disrupted. Looked like it might have been a bad pitch there, Alan.
You bet, Mike. Damp night. Had a little rain this afternoon. Rain started just a few minutes ago during the ball game. The ball's wet. When you have a wet ball, you're going to have a problem with that. And Frederick turns the ball over. The defense will have to get tough right here.
5:55 left to go in the first quarter. There is no score, as both teams have had one offensive set, and Bombers losing theirs on the fumble, and Plainview has the ball at the 34-yard line. Pitch back to Seifert, and Seifert in some territory now, has some open room. Now he's trying to scramble, and he will be brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Looks like he may have lost a couple, and we'll see where they spot that, but credit the secondary, because the secondary and the defensive formation, they were right there with him. Bringing him down as Seifert was dancing back there. Very, very dangerous receiver. Brian Cook for the Indians comes to the left side as Seifert goes back to pass, looking down the middle, and it will be as it was intended for Beard coming across the middle, and Kevin Isham had to reach back and try to get it, and it falls incomplete. Nearly a lot of success last time they played by running Brian Cook off and then throwing underneath the Beard. And we'll see if they try to do that again. As Cook goes to the right side, Seifert goes back to pass. It's a short pass, and it will be incomplete, intended for number 15, and that would be Brandon Seifert it was intended for, and it will fall incomplete, and the Plainview Indians will have to punt.
Tell you what, Mike, excellent defense tonight. Just like we mentioned earlier, the Bomber defense, I believe, getting better every game this year. Good pass coverage, good rush on the passer, made him throw the ball away, and make them go into the punt formation.
And it'll be Beecher who will be kicking, and it's almost blocked, and there's going to be a flag. As that will be a roughing the punter, and that's a very costly mistake.
Oh, did that hurt.
As Hilburn and Wiley were in there, and they did not touch the ball and take the correct angle, and they did run into the kicker, and that will be 15-yard penalty, and that will be good for the first down. Very costly penalty.
Mike, that's one thing we can't do. Plainview coming in here tonight, you know, it's a do-or-die deal. We beat them the first time. You know, you hear the old deal, it's always hard to beat a team twice, and they've got...
From what we could tell, and roughing, running into the kicker, 15-yard penalty, first down. Ball will be at the 48-yard line, still in Indian territory. Brian Seipert there to take the ball, hands off to Brandon Seipert. Brandon Seipert will be knocked behind the line of scrimmage at the 45.
Number 55 and number 70. 55, Dusty Blankenship. Number 70, Derek Miller. Excellent ball, shot through the line.
Second and 12 as the Indians send the receiver out here to the left side toward the press box, 2 to the right, and Seipert goes back to pass, and he will be run down by... that would be number 40, Shea Woodall, is able to drag him down, and then he gets some support in there by several of the other Bombers, Parks, and that will end up being a gain of about 2, bring up third.
In the Bomber territory.
Well, look for the motion here as they will probably try to hit either Brian Cook, number 24, or try to run the tight end on that drag back across the middle. As Cook comes in motion, 3rd and 10. Seipert goes back. Now he'll throw, and it will be Brian Cook is wide open at the 40-yard line down to the 36, and that's a play that Coach Jones and the defense worked on, and we kind of called that ahead of time, but he was wide open now.
Well, I tell you what, Mike, they worked on it on practice all week long, and he slipped right in that seam there, caught the ball, big game.
In them here in this contest as they have moved down into 4-down territory. Brian Seipert looks over, one back in the backfield, and that's Brandon Seipert. And he will go in motion. They're throwing to the corner of the end zone. It will be incomplete. Good job by John Hughes, as that was the fade pattern down to about the 7-yard line, and John Hughes was able to extend himself and knock that ball down at the last second. Very good pass, very good defense, so that would have been a touchdown. Just outside the 36-yard line. And they have, I believe, Faulkner in the backfield by himself, and that will be a screen pass, incomplete. And Bombers looking very carefully, make sure that was not a forward lateral, a backwards lateral, but it does fall incomplete.
They're sure not wanting to give it up here. We need to take it away from them, get the momentum swung back to our side.
Faulkner and Seipert behind Brian Seipert, and they have slot to the right. There's the option play, pitched back to Brandon Seipert. He will be tackled on an excellent tackle behind the line of scrimmage on the option play by Millard Park.
And I'll tell you what,
he was able to knife in there and get him for a loss.
I'll tell you what, Mike, you don't play that strong safety position any better than that right there. He stays home. He tries to get outside of him. Millard has just enough speed to run him down, and boy, excellent defensive play.
And Bombers need to avoid a mistake here as Beecher back to kick, and we'll see if they try any funny business here. And there is the kick, and it's off. It's off the side of his foot and is spotted out around the 25-yard line. So we'll see if they give us time. No timeout as referees are allowing this thing to go and kick it out of bounds around the 25 and keep the ball for 3 or 4 minutes. Bombers' second possession as they fumbled on about their own 34 to end their first possession. Clarence Allen comes in motion to the right. There's option play as Gaston keeps the ball, has a little running room as he tried to pull the ball back out, and there was a little, not really a bad exchange. He was pulling it down, and Kevin Isham was going to keep it.
Well, we just had a little trouble deciding who was going to run the ball that time, but it worked out pretty nice for the field and put us on the board.
And Gaston gets about 3.5 yards. We'll call it a 2nd and short 7 as receivers come to the right. Carpenter goes in motion, Hilburn out to the left. There's the option play, pitch back to Isham, and Isham is able to get to the 30 for about a yard gain. And really, Alan, that was one of those situations, give him 2 yards, but that's one situation. Pitchman was a little close to the quarterback.
Yes, he was, Mike, but also Plainview they're just sending everybody at the back somewhere.
And Plainview gambling every play, and what will happen is they'll either disrupt the play or the Bombers will break one here in a little while. We hope, as the Gaston looks over the defense. And now he'll hand off back to Kevin Isham, and Kevin Isham fighting for the 25-yard line, and I believe he will have the first down as he crosses the 25. Needed to get just a little short of the 25, and he gets the ball across. And credit the Plainview defense. They are hustling and really playing the best they can possibly play right now.
They sure are, Mike, and you can credit that first down to Kevin Isham because
on about the 32-yard line, and check that, he went across 35. I believe I said 25, but it will be 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. Gaston goes back for the short pass. Now is going to throw a deep pass, and it's a busted route as Hilburn went on the post, and the pass was down on the sideline fly, and that will go incomplete, and it goes over everybody.
Shirt color tonight, because sometimes we do wear the white shirt.
The other part of that is, Alan, I'm not sure he just didn't throw that ball away because Hilburn was not open at all. So it will bring up a 2nd and 10, and there's a handoff to Ryan Ben as he goes for short yardage close to the 50, and that will give him, really ends up getting about 3.5, almost 4 yards. Bombers need to go past the 45-yard line, and the Plainview Indians are tied 0-0. We'll take a minute timeout. You're listening to KYV 95.9 Frederick. A little bit longer than 5. We'll call it a long 5, as the Bombers will need to get to the right across the 45-yard line, almost to the 46, to get this first down. 3rd and 5. Bombers in their own territory. Gaston on the pitch to Ryan Ben. He has an opening. He will get across the 45 to the 46 and be knocked out of bounds. And that should be good enough for the first down.
It is.
And we can see that. I believe we can tell that's good by about 2 yards.
You bet, Mike. Good job then by Ryan getting to that outside
side. And Alan, the Bombers trying to figure out something to kind of offset that speed, and that was a good play, good for about 8 yards. Marshall comes over along with Carpenter, and there will be movement on the right side. I believe a couple of the offensive linemen jumped, and that will set the Bombers back 5 yards.
Mike, this defensive line of the Plainview Indians, Plainview by all means is probably about as good a team as we've faced this year. They're very much more solid than what the score showed. Successful at moving the ball.
And that will bring, after the 5-yard penalty, it will bring up a 1st and 15 for the Bombers. Ball resting about the 42-yard line. Gaston goes back to pass, and it will be complete to Hilburn as he will cross the 45-yard line. And could have been a late hit by Faulkner, but no call there, and it will still be about a yard short. But Hilburn went up in between 2 defensive backs and was able to snag that ball down and get, we'll call it about a 1.5 yards short of the first 10.
Hardly anywhere else, and that catch been made.
So good pass play on that, both from Gaston and Hilburn, as split receivers to the right, tight end to the left. Hand off to Isham, and Isham fighting forward down to the 35-yard line, just short of the 35, as that was pure strength, as Kevin Isham is able to get way more than he needed on the first down.
And Mike, I'm going to tell you what Kevin Isham just welcomed to Plainview Indians to Frederick, Oklahoma, because he comes through the line. 2 of them hit him head on, and he drove both of them straight backwards for another 5 yards.
And the Bombers, as we said before, the best defense the Bombers can have is to keep control of this on the field, on the offense, as they are right at the 35-yard line. Handoff to Ryan Ben, and he slants over the right side for about 4 yards, and he will get down to right at the 31-yard line. Up a 2nd and 6, as Hilburn and Carpenter go to the right side. Ben and Isham in the backfield. There's the option play to Gaston. He has an open field down to the 20 and down to the 15 as he is dragged down from behind by number 40 for the Plainview defense. And that's Michael Beard, who is able to catch up with Gaston. And Allen, very good job then as Gaston faked the pitch, and the the cornerback went with the pitch man. He just turned it up to get the first down.
Mike, and he takes the ball, gets outside. Michael doesn't get a hand on that jersey. He's in for 6.
And first and 10 on the 15. Bombers need to avoid mistakes down here deep in Indian territory. There's a handoff to Isham. He puts his head down and bulls his way down to the 10. And it appeared that he may have crossed the 10. We'll see where they put it down as he gets very close to the 10-yard line, just crosses the 10 as the nose is touching the 10-yard line. Be 2nd and 5, and moving this ball down as the clock starts. 2nd and 5 at the 10. Bombers can get a 1st and 10 just across the 5-yard line. Gaston looking over the defense. There's the option play. Gaston cuts it back inside and still on his feet as they're trying to strip that ball. But Gaston's able to hold on. He gets across the 5-yard line, and he will be very close to the first down yardage needed as they spotted it at the 4.5-yard line. And indeed, it is a 1st and goal inside the 5-yard line.
Going for those two guys, overlooking Sidney tonight. Sidney's doing an excellent job reading that option and moving the ball upfield.
The Indians trying to pull that ball out. Bombers will need to make sure they hold on to it. There's a handoff to Kevin Isham. He will spin and be knocked short of the end zone. And then he will get down to around the 2-yard line. And good play as Kevin took on the first 2 tackles and spun out of the tackles, but then was met by 3 or 4 other Indians, and he will get about 1.5. It'll be a 2nd and about 3 yards. His part to hit him, but credit the Indians trying to keep him out of the end zone.
Crowd on their feet, chanting, here we go.
2nd and go at about the 3-yard line. Gaston looking over the defense. There's a handoff to Isham again, and he will be stopped short of the end zone at about the 1-yard line, and Allen, they are definitely keying him as the linebackers, wherever Kevin goes, the linebackers are there.
You bet, Mike, and that's a big, strong defensive line that the Plainview Indians are putting up against.
Yard line, and this is a 3rd and go situation. We'll see if the Bombers can knock this in. Crowd on their feet, encouraging the Bombers. There's a handoff to Ryan Bent, and he will be stopped very close to the end zone as they're rushing in, and the referee is going to say, no, he did not break the plane. And they will call it 4th down, as it appeared that Ryan Bent was able to lay the ball across the end zone, but the nose of that ball will be just about an inch from the goal line.
Well, I've seen there's bugs too big to crawl between that football and that line, Mike.
And we'll see if what they try to do here. They try to do a quarterback sneak or whatever, but the ball is just outside the end zone. 4th and go for the Bombers. And Gaston will sneak it into the end zone, and the Bombers have a touchdown on 4th and go from just inches outside. And Gaston goes in for the touchdown. 6:23 left to go in the first quarter. They are leading 6-0, and it appears they're going to go for 1. Alan, a little problem with extra points last week, but the Bombers didn't need it. They need them this week.
You bet, Mike. They've worked on it hard in practice all day long. They've had the boys out kicking after practice almost every day, and hopefully we're going to see it work right here.
William Martin lacing his shoe up to get ready, and Carpenter will be there to hold, and Brandon Phillips will be doing the snapping. Looks like they're ready to go. There's a snap. It's down. It's up. And it appears to be good. And the Bomber players say it's good. The referees agree with them. Bombers take a...
Be sure to shop the fall loan sale on Money Street at Bank of Oklahoma.
Sure would not like to see Mr. Seifert in the open or Mr. Cook, either one.
No, sir, Mike. They're both very quick. That was a big touchdown. That may have been the most important touchdown Frederick scored all year long. They needed that to go out ahead, kind of shift the momentum over to their side, and that's exactly what they did.
Brian Cook and Brandon Seifert deep, standing at the 9-yard line, and Blake Bolton will be doing the kicking for the Frederick Bombers. Last time he was able to kick the ball 57 yards down to the 3-yard line, and the defense was able to cover. And we're ready to go with the kickoff. 6:23 left to go in this second quarter. Bombers just scored, and they lead 7-0 if you just joined us. Blake Bolton asking the officials if he can go, and now he gets the all-clear sign, and Seifert and Cook await the kick. And it will be a deep kick, and it will be taken and will go in the end zone. And I tell you what, that is an excellent kick, as Blake Bolton in the last game played a major part in the kicking game, and he kicks this in the end zone and takes that run back away from him.
And Mike
goes in the end zone. In high school, you cannot run it out. So the Indians will have it 1st and 10 at their 20. Seifert, quarterbacks, Seifert, the tailback, in the backfield along with the fullback, and there is a fumble on the play, and it appears that the Bombers have it. We'll see. And the Bombers do recover it, and I believe that was Chad Stone that was able, Derek Miller, it appears, as Derek Miller was able to knife through. He and Stone were in there together, and they knifed through on the handoff to the fullback, and the Bombers have it at the 19-yard line, deep in Indian territory.
Mike, Derek shoots through that line like somebody shot him out of a gun. He's impressed you all year. He's one of the smaller men on that line, but I'm telling you what, that boy's heart is as big as he is.
And the first time that McCauley's had a chance to carry, and unfortunately for him, he fumbles the ball. Tight end to the left for the Bombers, twins to the right. Gaston goes back to his left side and looking for Shea Woodall, and Shea Woodall will get down to around the 3-yard line. And for your information, Shea Woodall has not played offense the entire season, and he was a tight end in that particular formation. And they throw the tight end down, and he gets it all the way from about the 19 down close to the 3-yard line.
Mike, and I'll tell you the amazing part about this, they put Shea in there because of his blocking ability, and boy, he did it all tonight. He can block, and he just showed right there that he can catch also.
Be 1st and go at about the 3-yard line, or might be the 4, and the handoff to Ryan Ben. Ryan Ben is stopped for short yardage. Down inside the 3-yard line. We'll see where they spot it, unless they're going to give him about a yard, and it will be 2nd and 3 from the 3, 2nd and goal.
Mike, Plainview defense very tough up that middle there. They're big and they're strong, and they're just not giving up much. It's going to take some blocking to move those boys out of the way.
We'll see if the Bombers decide to go outside, as Hilburn and also number 32, I believe that's Morey, comes into the ball game. Isham and Ben behind Gaston. Bombers leading 7-0 here in the second quarter. There's the option play as Gaston gets into the end zone. And Gaston faked to Isham and was hit about the 2 and spun out of it, and was hit about the 1 and spun out of it again, and then was able to lean across and break the plane and get into the end zone for the touchdown. Bombers now lead 4:52. 13-0, and they will again go for 1 point. Alan, this is what the Bombers needed to do to get that momentum away from the Plainview Indians and get some points up.
Mike, big fumble a while ago. That's just exactly what we needed to happen, is take that away from Plainview and get their heads down. We beat them once, and they came in here tonight thinking they could do it again. They're primarily an entire senior team, and that ought to really take the air out of them.
There's a snap. The kick is up. Good. And it will be good as it sneaks over. It wasn't pretty, but it went through, and it counts.
Mike, it's
leading 14-0. You're listening to KYB 95.9 Frederick.
You love to lunch.
4:52 left to go in the second quarter, and boy, it would be great if Blake Bolton be able to put this in the end zone again.
I'll tell you what, Mike, Blake has done an excellent job of kicking that ball most all year long. Not only has he kicked the ball deep a lot, he gets a lot of height on that ball. Gives that coverage team time to get down that field and make those tackles.
I tell you what, Alan, it wouldn't surprise me to see the deep onside kick here after kicking in the end zone. We'll see what Blake decides to do, what Coach Jones has called. And getting ready to kick off, and Seifert and Cook are deep for the Indians. And it is the deep onside kick, and it will be taken by number 44. And That would be Craig Hodges, and Hodges is able to take it and step out of bounds about the 34. Sometimes we're almost like prophets, aren't we, Alan?
I'll tell you what, Mike, you're a lot smarter than I ever thought you were. A good job. Defense doing a good job all night. Let's see if they continue to do it here.
Bombers need to hold here with 4:51 left to go in the second quarter. Seipert fakes the draw play, now rolls out to his left, throws across the middle, and it will be complete to number 40. That's Beard. And there were two receivers yet, but Michael Beard was able to juggle it for a second and then turn around, and he is down right at the 50-yard line. That will be good for the first down.
You bet, Mike. If they keep throwing him with the way that the defensive, especially the secondaries, played this year, they're going to get some picks tonight.
Seipert and Faulkner in the backfield behind Brian Seipert. There's a pitch to Brandon Seipert over the left side, and he will be ridden down behind the line of scrimmage as Clay Johnson and Shea Woodall there to knock Seipert down, and along with Hughes coming up, and Seipert will lose one, and it will be a 2nd and 11 as the ball moves from the 50 back to the 49 in the Indian Territory. Bombers leading 14-0, 3:59 left to go in this second quarter. Seipert has twin receivers to the left, tight end to the right. There's a blitz on the play as Seipert's looking, and he has some running room across he fumbles the ball.
And Frederick recovers.
As Seipert had some running room and had gained about 8 yards, and he was hit hard by Kevin Isham, I believe, and Seipert coughs the ball up, and I believe that Clay Johnson recovered that, I believe, as another big turnover.
Tell you what, Mike,
Clay Johnson recovered it.
He gets into that secondary, and I'm like you. I didn't get that number, but I do believe it was Kevin Isham because he did rack him up right there and knock the ball loose from him. We come up with it. Big play by the defense.
Clarence Allen comes to the left. Woodall tight to the tight end to the left also. There's a quick pitch to Isham, and Isham will go straight forward after he takes the pitch around the left side, and he gets about 3 very hard yards. And
boy, if Frederick can march the ball down and score here, it's got to really put the ice on the Plainview Indians.
2nd and 7, ball at the 43. Hand off to Kevin Isham. He spins out of it in some traffic, spins out of the first couple tackles, and he will gain another 3 yards, it looks like, and bring up now they give him about 2.5, brings up a 3rd and a 4, long 4. Some good size up that middle.
67.
With some 265, 210, 245 in there, 3rd and 4. The option play, and there's a fumble, and no, I believe he was able to hold on to it, but as he tried to make the exchange, Gaston had about 2 men holding on to him, and it will be a loss of we'll give it a loss of 1 and bring up a 4th and 5.5, 6 yards, and the Bombers come on the punt.
Now, Mike, this is a play, first time we punted. If you remember back to Plainview game, when the kicker takes the ball, the entire Plainview team, and they did it in the film against Newcastle, turns and runs backwards. Last time we met them, we ran a touchdown on them. It'll be curious to see here what happens.
I don't think they'll do that. We'll hope that get a good snap here as Brandon Phillips about to snap the ball. Good snap back to Ryan Ben. And Ben is going to punt. He'll be taken or approached by Cook. Cook lets the ball go, and it will be down inside the 14-yard line. As Cook wanted to come up and take it, but there were Brandon Phillips was one of the first Bombers down there, and they were not going. Also with William Martin, they were not going to let Cook have that 41-yard punt and have any. We just have a guy that walked into the booth, and I'm watching my pants to make sure he doesn't try to pull him down. 1:05 left to go in the first half, and Seipert hand off to Seipert, and he goes straight across the 15 down to close to the 20-yard line, and that will bring up a 2nd down, and we'll call it 5 with 50 seconds left to go in the first half.
What are you supposed to do in a situation like this?
I guess you just keep talking. It's 2nd and 5. Ball resting on the 20 as Seifert hands off to Brandon Seifert, and he will be met behind the line of scrimmage, and it will be loss of probably about the loss of 1 yard, brings up a 3rd and 6. And 17 seconds left to go in the first half. We'll see if the Indians want to try to run another play deep in their own territory. If Coach Eddie Paul sends a play in, 8 seconds and counting, don't believe that they'll be able to get anything off. And the Bombers should be able to go to the locker room, and they will, with a 14-0 lead. And in talking to someone for the game, we were saying, where would we like to be? And we said if we could have a 14-0 lead, it would sure help if we could come out and get another touchdown. Mr. Jimerson?
Yes.
Give me some of your expertise here.
Well, it's probably the two fastest defenses that I've watched on the field this year in Plainview and in Frederick. Both teams run laterally real well. Both of them playing well. Bombers look great, though. They run the football real well. This is the first time I've got to watch them since early in the season, so I'm impressed with them.
And the Frederick Bombers really have not been able to break that big play, other than, I guess the biggest play was probably the pass play, the Woodall. But they've been able, really, they have not broken the large play. They just had to grind the ball out with a 17-yard drive of 76 yards, or 17-play drive, 76 yards down the field. It's really been a tough first half.
I was just going to ask you something. I know that you and Alan are the dynamic duo, and you throw in John, you're the triplets, but, I mean, this is a heck of a broadcast group. You know that.
Well, we're almost like Monday Night Football. We have Mike and Al.
Oh, I see.
We've got 3 reporters from Dayton, Oklahoma, and some from the Wichita Falls, some from the Lawton. Big contest. Bombers about to come back out in a minute. Let's take a minute timeout, and we'll be back with the second half kickoff. You're listening to KYV 95.9 Frederick Bomber Football. You were able to listen to the interviews at halftime with Dale Jimerson, who is working radio station Elk City, and former voice of the Bombers. We were able to chat with him for just a minute. And also H.L. Goop Gilbert, able to chat with him during the halftime, as he is here in place of Lloyd Benson, who had to be out of town tonight. And he's back doing the announcing. And I tell you, Alan, that a lot of nostalgia here tonight, and Bombers leading 14-0. Gosh, we sure hope they're able to keep that lead.
I tell you what, Mike, it's been a real good game. Bombers making a few mistakes there on offense earlier in the game, recovering from it very well. Defense playing excellent ball, but however, Plainview is not a team we can lay down on. This game's a long ways from being over. They've got that speed. They throw the ball well. Just a little deal here and there, and they can be right in the ball game. So we've still got a lot of football to play.
And both Brian Seifert, along with Brian Cook, Allen, are always one play away from a touchdown, and the Bombers will need to control this ball game like they did, and they can control it by controlling the ball on offense. The big 17-play, 76-yard drive was very instrumental in controlling that ball, taking 8 to 9 minutes off the clock as the Plainview Indians come back on, and the fans out in the victory line, and we'll be starting this contest here in about 2.5 minutes. Alan, the interesting thing on the first half was that the Bombers were able to absolutely control Brandon Seifert, and that's somewhat of a surprise. The Bombers, who the defense had really begun to come along more and more and more since the Plainview game, and the problem is they had really not been tested by like some onside kick or whatever, or maybe try to kick that thing deep and pin the Bombers deep. Wouldn't this be a fantastic time for Ryan Ben to run a kickoff back for a touchdown?
Well, I'll tell you what, you talk about sweet, that would be, and you can bet that those Plainview Indians, they've gone in at halftime, they've talked it over. You know, we've mentioned time and time again tonight that this is primarily a team of seniors.
A lot of seniors on defense, so a senior-dominated club, and as Beecher is about to kick off for the Indians. Ryan Ben will be deep along with Blake Bolton, and I believe that's Millard Parks. In the middle, Hilburn, Wiley, and can't see the number over here. Allen, it doesn't have, he turned his back in a minute. We can probably pick it up. That's Cheyenne Clark there near us. So we're ready to get underway here with the kickoff on the second half. Great night here. It is a football night. A little chilly. The wind's blowing just a little bit, and we'll see what the Indians are going to do. They're going to kick a deep onside kick, a fair catch called by Wiley, and he will take it at the 37-yard line, mark it the 38 as they put it down. And once again, a deep onside kick is where the ball is kicked very short and up high, and what they're counting on is that receiver to not take a fair catch or to fumble it.
You bet. No, you can't believe they haven't seen, they've evidently not seen their JV games, because about every one of those kids has handled the ball this year.
And Hilburn goes to the left. Clarence Allen goes to the right. And there's a draw play, and it will be back to Kevin Isham on the draw play, and he will be dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That's a very rare thing that you see, Allen, where you have a 4-yard loss or 3-yard loss on Kevin Isham.
And you bet, Mike. Had to be a missed block. Number 67 came through untouched, hit him in the backfield, didn't have a chance to go anywhere.
One thing that they were successful in doing against the Bombers was bringing the defensive ends straight in, and they have had some success doing that. But if you happen to miss, you can give up a long play. Gaston goes back on the screen pass, and it's overthrown as a screen pass was set up over there to Isham, but it goes over his head, about 2 foot over his head, and that will bring up a 3rd and 14. Bombers really need to come out and take this thing down the field and use up some time off the clock.
More, Mike.
And Bombers misfiring on the first couple of plays. We'll see if they can pick up the 3rd and 14. Need to get to the 48-yard line in Bomber territory. Kevin Isham comes in motion to the right. Gaston rolls out downfield to Allen, and he will be, looks like he will have the first down, and they say he's in bounds as Clarence Allen does a great job. And he drags across from the far side, and Gaston rolls out and puts it on the money as it was cleared out. And you talk about Plainview's play working for them.
Mike, I'll tell you what,
for us too, didn't it?
Right here in front of the press box, excellent pass, excellent reception by Clarence Allen. Great job of catching that ball. Good job by Sidney to throw it. Big first down.
And it will be a first down at the 48-yard line in Indian territory. Gaston on the option, pitches back to Isham, has some running room at the 45, down close to the 40-yard line. He will be knocked out of bounds. We'll see where they spot it at the point he was knocked out of bounds. Looks like it will be just short of the 40-yard line, and that will bring up a 2nd and a long 3.
Mike, good job by Kevin getting to the outside. The defense was there. He just hammers right into the middle of them and drives them backwards, picks up good yardage.
And that's one of the situations where Bombers use that quickness against them as they fake to one side, and Bombers are able to come back to the short side. There's the option play to Ryan Ben, and he squirts through a hole over the right side down to the 35-yard line. That will be good for the first down, as I believe the ball will be marked just short of the 35-yard line, and Ryan Ben was one step from being able to take that all the way to the end zone.
You bet. Good job of blocking there by the offensive line, opening that hole up, giving him that yardage.
Again, the Indians playing an all-or-nothing defense as they're stunning into the hole, and if you happen to hit the right hole, you'll go a long ways, or if you hit where they're coming, it may be a loss. There's a handoff to Ryan Ben, and just as we were saying, if you hit the wrong hole where they are.
You bet. You called it, Mike, and that's exactly what he did. He hit the hole to Plainview. Indians coming right in from the other side, and not much gain there.
Be a gain of 1, be 2nd and 9 as Ryan is able to go forward. The other part of that is if you're able to, they guess wrong, then you're going to have a pretty good gain. And that's what happened to play before. It'll be a 2nd and 9, the ball at the 34-yard line in Plainview territory. There's the option play. Now they go back, and it will be knocked down intended for Shea Woodall, and on the option passes, they faked the option and tried to hit Shea Woodall, but good defense by the Plainview Indians as it was broken up there right at the 23, 24-yard lines, brings up a 3rd and 9.
Right, Mike. Shea knew this game at that offensive receiver, and he was well covered then. Ball maybe thrown just a tad behind him, but the coverage was excellent then.
Michael Beard there on the defense. They fooled them once, but they didn't fool them this time. 3rd and 9. Bombers able to pick up that 3rd and 14 a minute ago. We'll see if they're able to convert here on this 3rd and 9 ball at the 34. Gaston goes back, pumps one. Now he's going deep, and it will be incomplete as the receiver stepped out of bounds, and had he caught it, would not have been able. It was intended for Hilburn, and
Mike,
there's going to be a
flag on the play, you bet. They came up after Sidney delivered the ball, and they did knock him down and hit him pretty hard. He gets up, he's okay, but going to probably be roughing the passer call there.
And very, very costly mistake for the Indians as that ball was incomplete around the 10-yard line. And rather than holding up, kind of the same situation where the Bombers roughed the punter, that was just a mental mistake, and the Indians will pay for it. It'll be a 1st and 10 down inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line. Costly mistake if the Bombers can convert this, Alan.
You bet, Mike. It was, they had the Bombers pinned back there, but that gives them the 1st down, puts them in good shape. All they need to do now is punch it in.
1st and 10 at the 19, deep in Indian territory. Bombers trying to convert this, leading 14-0. There's a pitch to Ryan Ben, and he goes down the line, runs all the way across the field, but he will be knocked out very close to the line of scrimmage. We'll see where they spot this. They're going to give him about 2 as he goes across, so that will be a 2nd and actually about 3. We'll call it 2nd and 7. 10:08 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Bombers leading 14-0. Ball spotted about the 17-yard line.
Mike, all they need to do here is control the ball, not make any mistakes, continue to move it downfield.
There's a counter play to Kevin Isham. He's still on his feet and gets down to the 5-yard line. He was hit right around the 12-yard line, and the last 6 yards, Alan, he negotiated that running backwards as he was spun around, and he was running backwards toward the end zone and is knocked down around the 5-yard line.
Mike, he got through that hole very quickly. It's the call you made not long ago. He hit the hole. Nobody was there. He got into the backfield, hit the secondary. They kind of tripped him up. He turns and, like you said, stumbled backwards down to the 5-yard line.
The 1st and go at the 5. Gaston taking it in last time on the option play. There's a we thought maybe there was a fumble for a second, as it looked like there was a mix-up between Ben and Gaston, and Alan, my heart almost stopped. It'd be loss of 1.
I'll tell you what, Mike, it hurts your feelings to drive the ball down that far and then give it away. And I'm like you. That's kind of looked like a mix-up on the ball exchange, maybe a mix-up on the play call, but we did take it over 2nd and 6 here.
And it will be 2nd and 6 for the touchdown. Ball at the 6-yard line. As wide receiver to the left. Marshall goes to the right. There's a slant pattern, and it is incomplete, intended for Carpenter right at the goal line. And if you've watched the Dallas Cowboys, you've seen Michael Urban run that play. And it looked like for a minute that Jake Carpenter had that ball. Might have been just a little bit behind, but good defensive play as well.
Mike, he got in front of his defender. The ball was thrown pretty well. He just couldn't get a handle on it. It comes up incomplete.
And that will bring up a 3rd and 6. And the Bombers need to convert here. And to get this in, this would be a big, big 7 points for them. So it's 3rd and 6 from the 6, deep in Indian territory. There's second man through is Ryan Ben, and looked like he had an opening for a second, but the Plainview defense closed very quickly, and he will go from the 6 down to around the 3.5 yard line, and it's a 4th down situation for the Bombers. 4th and go at the 3.
You bet, Mike. Very important play, very big play. This is a play that could sure let a lot of the air out of the Plainview sails. We're up 14-0, 8 minutes and 27 seconds to go, but if we can get in here, it's going to really hurt.
And Gaston looking over the defense. Simmons goes to the right. Woodall tied to the right as well. There's the option play to right bend. Spring for the end zone, and he gets in. Touchdown! He was hit around the 3-yard line and put his head down and muscled his way in on the perfectly run option play. Good play by Gaston to pitch it out to the wide man. And Cook came up and hit him around the 3, but Ryan Ben was determined to get into the end zone. What a big play that is.
You
Bombers
bet,
leading
Mike,
20-0.
Ryan Ben has ran harder as each game went along this year, I believe, and he showed it right there. He spots his spot in the end zone, and he was not going to be denied.
And that play may loom very, very big as, I tell you what, a back that a little bit less strength would not have gotten in the end zone there. Ryan Ben able to negotiate. There's a fake, and Ryan Ben will go into the end zone. And that was something we'd watched as the Plainview tried to block the extra point by putting all of the defensive men on the right side. And the Bombers, seeing that, just ran a little end around, and they had the Utah pass to Ryan Ben, and he goes in for 2. Bombers leading 22-0.
Mike, I tell you what, that's what you call studying your homework and it paying off right there. That was a beautiful play, audible at the line probably. They picked that up on the Plainview Indians and stab it in the end zone for 2 points.
Let's take a 30-second timeout. You're listening KYB 95.9 Frederick. Welcome back to Bomber Bowl. Blake Bolton about to kick off. Bombers just scoring on 4th and 3 from the 3. They lead 22-0 on the 2-point conversion. And Bolton will kick. This will go out of bounds as he tried to kick that deep down the right corner of the field of the end zone, and it will go out of bounds. And I believe the Indians, they have the option to take it on the 35-yard line. Or kick it again, and we'll see what they do.
I bet they take it at the 35.
And talking over that, that is a penalty to kick the ball out of bounds on the, they call it offsides. We'll check this. And I believe they will. Looks like they want to. It was offsides even before the ball went out of bounds. Did not see that flag on the far side of the field all the way across away from us. So, Allen, once that thing goes offsides, the ball is dead. So the out of bounds really didn't even matter.
Right, Mike. They'll back the ball up, can kick it again. In all fairness to the kickoff team. Blake took a little stutter step there as he started towards the ball, kind of stepped sideways. Never seen it before. Maybe he was doing something, trying to kick that ball short or whatever it was. A couple of his linemen missed it and got over the line a little quick.
Kick. Blake comes back out and says, no, I still kick here. 8:08 left to go in the third quarter. Bombers leading 22-0. Bolton will, after that offsides penalty on the kickoff, will kick off from the 35-yard line. And again, Alan, Cook and Seifert back. Both of these return men very, very dangerous. And he will kick a squib kick, and it's fumbled by Beard at the 30, now picked up by number 18. And he will come back and be down.
Boy, and I'm telling you what.
Line. And you talk about the defense swarming, that kickoff team did.
Folks, I'm going to tell you what, there's 11 people on that field of them, and 9 of them took him down then.
And he lost 8 yards.
That was Michael Tucker, one of the up men, and he took the ball about the 25-yard line and tried to run backwards to make the wall, and the only wall he made was 11 Bombers. They downed him right at the 20-yard line, and after all said and done on that kickoff, the Indians will have it at the 21, 1st and 10. Seifert at quarterback. Back deep is Seifert, behind him at the tailback slot. Brian Seifert goes back to pass, and it is complete. And a hit by Millard Parks. And after about a 5-yard gain, he laid that receiver out.
That was Brandon.
Brandy was, that was Brandon Seifert who caught that ball, and they run the hurry-up offense now, 2nd and 5 after that completion. 2 receivers come out to the left side, as Brandon Seifert is the tailback. Brian Seifert is the quarterback. Long count. Look like some movement, but looks like Brandon Seifert will be drugged down. A loss again, and it was a 2nd and 5. It will be a 1-yard loss, bring up a 3rd and 6. And I can tell you the Millard Parks, along with the Bomber defense, really playing hard, and the Indians in a hurry-up offense, trying to confuse the Bombers right now. They have a tight end to the right, twins to the left. As Cook comes out to the left, watch him, and watch Beard coming across the middle. They hand off to Seifert again up the middle on a, not really a draw, but just a straight play to the tailback, and he will be stopped. If for any gain, it will be short, and they'll give him about a foot. They'll bring up a 4th and a long 5, and the Indians will appear that they'll have to punt.
And Mike, I'm going to brag again on that Bomber defense. I'll tell you what, they're playing very, very well tonight.
And Bombers need to watch for a long count here, as they just need 5. The snap is back. The kick is up. Ryan Ben and Kevin Isham back, and both of them will let it go as Wiley and blocking Beard down here, and in a hard-fought ball game. Haven't seen really too many cheap shots, other than some aggressive penalties like the block, roughing the kicker and the roughing the quarterback. But those aren't cheap shots. Those are hustle-type penalties. Right,
Mike. It has been a very well-played ball game. Even the officials hadn't done bad tonight. I'm not even going to talk too ugly about them tonight. But
and the Bombers will have it 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line, Allen, in their own territory. Boy, if the Bombers could move this thing down the field, that would really put a nail in the coffin. 5:51 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Handoff to Isham, and he will go ahead for about 3 yards, and credit the Plainview defense as they have bottled up Kevin Isham, not let him rip off any long plays, but I tell you what, he is running the ball hard, picks up a long 3 there.
Mike, he comes right up the middle of the line and just fights and claws for the short gain, 3 yards, I guess, and while you're on those sponsors, you folks out there listening, you be sure when you see some of them to tell them how much you appreciate them bringing tonight's game to you.
And the Bombers leading 22-0, 5:15 left to go in the 3rd quarter. As Carpenter goes in motion to the left, there's the option play back to Isham. Has some running room at the 45, to the 50, down to the 40, looks like the 46-yard line in Indian territory. There is a flag on the play. I believe there might have been some movement on that left side.
Had to be, Mike. The flag was thrown way back early. Probably going to be illegal motion against the Bombers.
I thought that maybe someone on the left side over there, one of the offensive linemen, moved just a little bit early, but sometimes it's hard to tell when the ball is snapped. But the Bombers will go 5 yards back, and rather than a 1st and 10, it will be 2nd and about 12.
Mike, tough break, a very good run there, backs them up a little bit. However, with a 22-point lead, I feel quite a little bit better about this penalty than I did with those that were made earlier in the ball game.
Bombers need to control the ball at this point, not make any mistakes on giving the ball up. And Woodall tied in to the right. Ben and Isham in the backfield. There's a handoff to Kevin Isham. He has an opening up middle, and he will be knocked down at the 45-yard line. And credit Brian Cook, able to come back and get Kevin Isham as he streaked about 20 yards down to the 45, or he would have been gone for a long-distance touchdown.
And, Mike, right there's another prime example of the quickness of the Plainview Indians. They pursued the ball very quickly. They fell for the fake all the way. Kevin takes the ball, goes to the opposite direction, and finds that big hole, picks up the 1st down.
So they get all the penalty back, and it will be 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Isham comes in motion to the right where there are double receivers. Gaston comes back, throws to the middle, and it will be incomplete as it was intended for Clarence Allen, thrown behind him just a little bit, and then credit a good hit by not letting him able to try to go after that ball. If it was knocked in the air a little bit, then I can guarantee the there's a lot of hard hitting going on out there, Alan.
Mike, I tell you what, these are two quality football teams. Plainview, a very good team. You can't take anything away from them. They're probably about as good a team as we played tonight this year, but Bombers just outmanning them tonight.
Tucker on that hit for the Indians. Brings up a 2nd and 10. The ball at the 44 in Indian territory. Hand off to Ryan Ben. He has some running room, goes straight up the middle to the 35-yard line. And I thought there might have been some movement there, but I believe that the ball had already, it's hard to tell. Sometimes you see movement, it's just quickness off the line of scrimmage as the Frederick Bombers roared off the line of scrimmage, and Ryan Ben picks up 9.
Mike, great run by Ryan. He, like you said, hit the hole very quickly, got through there, great run.
3rd and 1, we'll call it a long one. The Bombers need to get just across the 35, the ball between the 35 and 36 in Indian territory. And hand off to Ryan Ben, and he goes over the right side down across the 30 to about the 29-yard line, helped up there by Brandon Phillips. And credit that offensive line again.
You bet. Opens that hole up, Mike. He gets through the initial line and then does an excellent job of picking his holes, running that ball up the middle, picks up the 1st down.
And William Martin along with Dusty Blankenship in there, and Chad Stone, Wilson, Brandon Phillips doing an excellent job now of moving that ball and firing off. Woodall tied in to the right. 1st and 10 at the 30. There's a draw play to Kevin Isham, and he is hit behind the line and then is able to struggle forward and get down for about a 3 or 4 yard gain. We'll call it a 3-yard gain, brings up a 2nd and 7.
I'll tell you what, Mike, not many backs could do what Kevin just did. If they come through, try to tackle him in the backfield, you're not going to arm tackle Kevin Isham. If you're going to bring him down, you're going to have to get a better hold on him than that.
Well, he was hit right at the line of scrimmage and maybe a little bit behind, and as they spotted, it's probably closer to 2 yards. Will bring up a 2nd and a short 8. The ball down around the 28-yard line. Gaston comes to his left, now throws a pass in. It will be incomplete, almost intercepted at the 15-yard line as it was intended for Shea Woodall, and the pass was underthrown, and Beard had an excellent opportunity to bring it down. He dove for it, but it bounces off his shoulder pads and goes out of bounds. That one should have been intercepted.
Oh, Mike, the only reason it wasn't is the boy just flat didn't catch it because it was right to him.
We'll bring up a 3rd and 8. Bombers have had a lot of success on the last couple drives of picking up 3rd and long situations, and we'll see if they can do the same thing here. 2:22 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Bombers leading 22-0. 3rd and we'll call it 3rd and short 8, long 7. Gaston drops straight back to pass on the on the screen pass, and as we were talking about the screen pass, Isham will be knocked down for a loss. That's one of those situations I couldn't talk fast enough because the defensive man was coming toward Isham in a dead run and able to get him for about a 2-yard loss.
You bet, Mike. Hits him hard. Rain starting to fall here again at the Bomber Bowl. However, the good thing tonight is the Bombers are up 22-0, 1:50 left to go in the 3rd quarter.
And it will be 4th and 10. The ball right across the 30-yard line, and the Bombers will be going for this 4th and 10. They need to get down across the 20-yard line. Gaston rolls to his right, throws deep, and it will be intercepted. And really, that's not that bad because Cook intercepted the ball, and by doing that, he lost about 10 yards.
You bet, Mike. He sure did. That was a 4th down play, but he got him an interception to go in the record books.
He has an interception now, and he will get the ball will be spotted around the 18-yard line as intended down there for Carpenter, and credit young man with a good play there to intercept that ball. But it will be 1st and 10 for the Indians at the 18. Cyprick goes back to pass, looks across, and it's complete to Beard, and that will be good for the 1st down. Across down to about the 32-yard line as Beard goes down and runs the curl And credit Seifert because he threw a ball and Beard was able to go a pretty good defense around him, but he went up and snatched that thing out of the air for the first down.
You bet, Mike. Number 40, Michael Beard, has been their bread and butter play all year long. If I'm going to say that Seifert has a favorite receiver, that would have to be him. Does an excellent job of getting him in the ball.
Seifert at quarterback, Seifert behind him in the tailback position. Cook comes to motion to the right. Seifert comes around, has an open man, now throws across the middle to Beard, and he will be hit at about the 36, 37-yard line. And Seifert looking for Beard all the way. Actually, thought he had Cook open about 15 yards further down the field, but he chooses to hit Beard, and he gets about 7 yards. Now, let's call it 6, brings up a 2nd and 4.
Right, Mike. Plainview finding they're having trouble running the ball against the Bomber defense, forcing them to go to their air. They keep that up. I've got to think one's going to get picked off.
Faulkner and Seifert behind Brian Seifert. They pitch it back to Brandon Seifert, and he will gain about a yard, 2 yards, as he has not had a lot of success. And credit Dusty Blankenship with being able to knife through and put the first hit on him along with Shea Woodall as the third quarter ends. Bombers leading 22-0. Let's take a minute timeout. You're listening to KYB 95.9 Frederick. It will be 3rd and 3 for the Indians. Ball resting just short of the 39-yard line. They have to get to close to the 42 for the first down. Seifert, long count as Brandon Seifert goes in motion. Handoff on the option play to Brian Seifert, and he will get the first down as he was hit by Clay Johnson and Woodall right at the stick, but he's able to twist out of the tackle and get about another yard. Good for the first downs. He gets to the 44-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Indians.
I'll tell you what, Mike, Shea Woodall, number 40, gets a hand on his shirt, kind of slows him up, holds him, keeps him from making a good gain on that play till he can get a little help to bring him down.
1st and 10 for the Indians at their own 44. Their first rushing first down this half, and Beard wide open at the 35-yard line. Seifert had a lot of time, but credit, it looked like Chad Stone that was being tackled in the backfield, or he might have had an opportunity to get him, but credit Seifert with being able to throw and find Beard in traffic, and he gets another first down, just like they did in the contest in Plainview. They're finding Michael Beard and having a lot of success with him.
You bet, Mike, and he's going to continue to look for him all night.
Cook comes out to the right. And they rolls to the right looking for Cook. Now Brian Seifert's going to run, and he will be knocked down by Shea Woodall. As Shea Woodall had him in the sights, and Seifert pulled the ball down. And credit Hilburn along with Clay Johnson because they had the receivers covered, and then Woodall was able to bring Seifert down. And that will be a loss of 3 on that play, brings up a 2nd and 13.
And Mike, that's exactly what happened. Excellent coverage by the Bomber secondary then, forcing Brandon to roll to the right side. Good coverage in by the Bomber defense, run him down, cause him to lose yardage.
And Shea Woodall doing a great job being able to run that Brian Seifert down, as he has excellent speed. Brian Cook goes in motion to the left side. Seifert comes around to the left, now looking, and he will throw incomplete to Cook. And it looked like Brian Seifert was very close to going across the line of scrimmage, but he throws down to Cook. It will be incomplete, and it will bring up a 3rd down and 13.
And, Mike, that ball was catchable, thrown just a little bit behind. Cook just couldn't get a handle on it, or that's picked up pretty good yardage there, but it goes incomplete, 3rd and about 13.
10:26 left to go in the 4th quarter. Bombers leading 22-0. Indians far from being dead as they have been able to move the ball by the pass. Cook comes out to the right. Seifert and Faulkner in the backfield. Seifert goes straight back. Now under some pressure. Now throws, and it will be incomplete for Beard as Millard Parks dove in front of him and was able to deflect his attention for just a second, and then Clay Johnson able to knock the ball out of Beard's hands, and that will be incomplete, 4th and 13. And down 22-0, and they're at the 37-yard line. They will go for this.
You bet, Mike. Time becomes an important factor here.
Looks like they may try to call a timeout.
And that's exactly right. They're going to take a timeout, talk it over.
As we take a timeout, Alan, would you like to take a timeout?
You bet. Let's take one.
We're going to take a minute timeout. You're listening to KYD 95.9 Frederick. It's 10:21 left to go in the fourth quarter. The Indians are on the 37-yard line of the Bombers. It's 4th and 13. Bombers, if they can hold here, this would be allow them to take the ball back on offense and run some very valuable time off the clock.
Mike, this is, for all practical purposes, this is Plainview's last hurrah. They don't make this first down, they've got problems.
And Seifert looks over the defense at quarterback. He will drop straight back, and he will throw across the middle, and it's caught on an excellent catch, and we'll see where they mark it. He might be short.
Yeah, I believe he is, Mike. It's going to be very close, but it's going to like just a little, I believe, being the first down.
As that was an excellent catch by Beard. He went up, and his feet were taken out from under him, and that's a long way across field. Alan, with your bionic eyes, can you tell?
Mike, I've got to say it's short.
And we'll see, as they needed to go 13, he's at least got 12 and a half, and we'll see where they spot this. It is about 12 and a half, maybe just 12, and the Bombers hold on that 12-yard pass play, except they needed 13, and the Bombers will take over as that was 4th down. They will take over 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. They need to just take the ball, move down the field, run some time off the clock, leading 22-0, 10-13 and the clock running here in the fourth quarter.
And, Mike, that is all the Bombers have to do at this point, control the ball and run the time off that clock.
Rain has stopped once again. Hand off the ball straight up the middle to Ben, and he will go ahead for short yardage. Blankenship comes in the game for the Bombers, and Hilburn and Allen comes out. And that will be a gain of 1, 2nd and 9 for the Bombers. 9:42 left to go in the contest. Bombers leading 22-0. They were able to stop the Indians, as the Indians have been able to move the ball with gain 3 or 4 first downs with the pass mainly to Beard, but came up short, and the Bombers took over on the 25. 2nd and 9 from the 26-yard line. Gaston takes a snap, pitches to Ben, coming to the outside in trouble, and he will be maybe get back to the line of scrimmage, and no, it's going to be a loss of 1, actually a loss of 2, brings up a 3rd and 11, 8:59 and counting here to go in the contest. Really, the Bombers really even don't want to punt out of this situation and allow something, but this will be a 3rd and 11 to see if the Bombers can get out of this hole.
You bet, Mike. Once again there you saw the quickness of those Plainview Indians. They pursued the ball very well.
And the Bombers trying to get out of the hole. This would be a great time to break one. 8:34 left to go in the fourth quarter as Kevin Isham goes in motion to the right. Gaston on the draw, hands off the right. Ben, he has some open room around the 30, 35 to the 40, and he will step out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Good for the first down, and again, that's where Plainview's quickness was used against them, as everyone went to the right on the offense. All of the Plainview defense went to the right, and Ben was able to race down the left sideline.
And Mike, you've seen it all night. If you can catch them going the wrong way, there's a big hole there, and that's exactly what Ryan took advantage of.
8:23 left to go in the contest. Bombers leading 22-0, and that was Bombers can run some more time off the clock here. Gaston, quarterback, gone all the way. Ben and Isham in the backfield. Hand off to Isham up the middle, and he was hit right, actually hitting in the backfield, and he's able to just keep his feet moving and gain 4 yards, 3.5, 4 yards. Kevin Isham, Allen, got a lot of leg strength.
I'm telling you what, he is one strong young man. If there's not a hole there, he'll make one.
And it will be a 2nd and 7 The ball between the 49 and 50, still in Bomber territory. 7:49 left to go in the fourth quarter. There's the option play. Gaston will fake to the first man through and then turn up behind him, and he will go ahead for about another 2 yards, it looks like. It'll bring up a third, and we'll call it 3rd and 4 as he crosses the 50-yard line, gets an Indian territory down across, right across the nose of the ball, touching the 48.
And Mike, I tell you what, the Plainview Indians still playing very good defense. They've played an excellent ball game tonight, probably about as tough a defense as we've faced all year.
Doing a very good job. Tucker, especially one of the linebackers, doing a good job for the defense. And Kevin Isham is able to stumble his way to get the first down. And that was a situation where Jamie Shirley, the defensive end, as he knifed in, hit Kevin Isham as he got the ball. And Kevin Isham's face mask was about a foot off the ground as he ran for about 6-7 yards.
Mike, he was flying low.
And it will be a first down. The ball resting at the 41-yard line in Indian territory. 6:52 and counting in this contest. Looks like Gaston is audibling the play as Hilburn is out to the left. There's an option play to Ryan Ben, and he goes across the 40, across the 35, down to about the 32-yard line. And Ben may be hurt as they kind of crushed his legs up underneath him. And we'll hope that he maybe just got the way he looked, he may have just gotten the breath knocked out of him. We'll check this as Ryan Ben is down a gain of about 9, brings up a 2nd and 1, and I believe that he just had the breath knocked out of him as he hops up, and there was a lump in my throat. How about yours, Al?
Well, mine too. 72 for the Plainview Indians. Jumps up, real excited, and I thought, well, what has this young man got to be excited about? I just watched one of Frederick's guys run for about 9 yards, and he's out there dancing around.
But it will be Ryan has 88 yards on that carry, and it will be a 2nd and 1. Kevin has 92 yards, so the tandem backs for the Bombers both approaching the 100-yard mark. 6:14 left to go in the contest. Bombers leading 22-0. Ball at the 32. They will need to get to the 31 for the first down. And that could be, Alan, that could be the offsides play because everyone moved except the quarterback and the center. So that's hard to cover, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, the center sure never moved, and everybody else on the field did.
That's one of those things where every official throws their flag and nobody boos. As the Bombers will be penalized 5, and I think probably there was a mix-up. Definitely there was a mix-up on that count. But rather than having 2nd and 1, it'll be 2nd and 6. And I don't know, that looked like a 6-yard penalty almost, but from where it's spotted. But it's 6 minutes and counting here in the contest. Bombers leading 22-0 here in this fourth period, second round playoff. Frederick and Plainview. Allen comes to the left. Pitch back to Isham, and Isham's able to negotiate the corner and gain about 2 or 3 yards. And he hops up. He's able to get down to 35 and get some of that yardage back, but it will be a 3rd and we'll call it 4.5 yards.
And I'll tell you what, Mike, another good job by Kevin. Plainview pursues very quickly, get a hold of him in the backfield. He just pushes him off, and the boy just makes that good gain, and not a bad run by Kevin Isham.
First down here would be nice because every time the Bombers get the first down, they're able to run about another 3 minutes off the clock. Carpenter comes out to the left. Tight end also to the left. There's a counter play to Ryan Ben, and Ben back in the ball game, and he will get very close to the first down. We'll see where they spot it. And I tell you what, it seemed like that's the second time when they tackle Ben, it's kind of like they kind of lay on him or push his legs, his knees back into his face or whatever.
Right, Mike. He's a man with a target on his back tonight.
And it's going to be close enough that they're going to measure. It was 3rd and about 4, and it's going to be very close. All right, Eagle Owl Island. Alan, do you have you got a prediction here?
Mike, it's going to like about 2 7/8 inches being first down.
2 7/8 inches.
He's almost right.
And he was a little bit wrong. It was 2 3/4.
Well, folks, you folks out there listening, be sure and tell my wife I am right every once in a while.
And it will be a 4th down and about 2 3/4 inches, as the Bombers need to get just a smidgen to be able to control this ball and pick up a first down. The ball right at the 31-yard line. They're about 2 inches from it. They have to get to the 31-yard line. We'll see if we have a quarterback sneak here. Bean comes in motion. Hand off to Isham, and he gets to the 30-yard line and is driven back. And that will be good for the first down.
Good hard running again by Kevin. He just explodes up through the middle of that line. Heavy traffic, Plainview fighting back hard, but they can't keep Kevin from picking up first down.
And credit Kevin Isham. That was a 1-yard run, but that's as hard of a 1-yard run as you will ever see, because he was hit by about 6 people straight on.
They knew what was coming. They had the middle of that line stacked. They were waiting on it, but Kevin, it was just too stout. He was not going to be denied.
Ball just across the 30-yard line, nose touching the toward the end zone side of the 30-yard line, as Ryan Bean comes in motion to the left. Pitch out to Isham, has some running room across the 30, goes into the 25-yard line, and cut down from behind there as he crosses down to the, looks like about the 24-yard line, and that will be a gain of 6. 3:52 left to go in the contest. Bombers leading 22-0.
Mike, Kevin getting a chance to show a little bit of his quickness there. Not only is he strong, he does have a little speed. Gets to the left side, gets around that end, and picks up that 6 yards.
And Kevin Isham with that run goes over 100 yards. 3:33. Bombers leading 22-0 in this contest, driving now to try to keep control of this ball and run the clock out. Hand off to Isham again, and Isham will go across the 20-yard line. And Isham, again, just doing everything he can. And I tell you what, Alan, see some good sportsmanship here as number 18, Michael Tucker, kind of looks at Kevin and said, yeah, I tackled you, but I'm going to help you up.
You bet, Mike. That's what high school football should all be about. It's a game. Sometimes a lot of us forget that, but, you know, football kind of runs a parallel with life. There's ups, there's downs, there's good, and there's bads, and it's nice to see some of that good every once in a while.
And with that run, it will be a first down for the Bombers. 1st and 10, ball just across the 20-yard line with 3:02 left to go in the game. Bombers leading 22-0. There's the option play to Ryan Ben, and he will get about 2, as it looked like Gaston wanted to pull it back out and jammed his finger a little bit, but Ryan already had that ball and has had his hands clamped, and he'll gain about a yard and a half, and it'll be second, and we'll call it a long 8.
Mike, clock running, 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Frederick 22-0. Doing a good job eating the time up and moving the ball down the field.
It's been a very hard-fought contest so far, and Bombers from here on out just need to control the ball and take as much time as they possibly can, and just really a score is not necessary, just to keep the ball and drive it down the field. There's a handoff to right Ben. He's got some running room at the 10. 5, touchdown on the draw play, or on the probably that's that little trap and counter.
That's exactly
rather than the draw, and he goes all the way into the end zone, and John, that should put Ryan close to being over 100 yards too, I believe, as he goes in, and it's now 28-0, 2:08 left to go in the contest. Bombers will go for 1.
I know that score wasn't necessary, Mike, but let's put it on the board anyway. You want to?
That sounds good to me, and not that they're trying to run it up, it's just that the Bombers have trying to control the ball. That's the big key here.
Well, Mike, you caught Plainview again on that misdirection. Get them all moving one way. Ryan had the wide open lane all the way to the other side.
There's the same play again, and he will get into the end zone for the 2 point. And Coach Ed Jones is saying if you're going to put 6 men to one side and rush them, we're going to run the 2-point conversion.
Well, Mike, I'll tell you what, they had him stopped about 2 yards from the end zone, and he just wasn't going to give up. He was going.
And that will move the score to 30-0 with 2:08 left to go in this contest. And this is probably the situation where you probably need to take Ryan Ben and Kevin Isham out. So the Bombers go for 2, and we'll take a 30-second timeout. You're listening to KYB 95.9 Frederick, 104-8.
Let's see. Kevin's got...
He goes over the 100-yard mark.
He's got 164.
Goes over the 100-yard mark, 105 for Kevin Isham. So both Isham and Ben once again go over the 100-yard mark in the same ball game.
I believe you'd call that a well-balanced attack, wouldn't you, Mike?
And again, there's been some 10, 12-yard games, but and I guess maybe 1 or 2, about a 20-yard game with Ryan breaking a couple, but
Ryan's carried it 23 times. Kevin's carried it 22 times.
23 times by one back and 22 by the other. That can't get much more balanced than that, as Blake Bolton will be doing the kicking again. Cook and Seifert back. We'll see if Bolton decides to send it deep. Again, the wind is a slight wind, and Bolton, this will be taken, and it will bounce around the 15 and will be taken around the 8-yard line by Seifert, and he will get back as he snowed under at about the 12, 13-yard line. And that will be a 1st and 10 for the Indians down around the 14 where they're finally going to spot it.
Boy, Mike, letting that ball hit the ground, letting it bounce back inside, looked like about the 5-yard line, and then decides to pick it up and run. He's lucky he got it back out to the 15-yard line of 14.
And it will be 1st down, as there's some confusion about who needs to be in the ball game, as Kevin Isham goes out of the game, and it will be complete to Brian Cook across the 25 down to about the 27. A little confusion as Coach Jones trying to get some of the players in the contest that haven't got a chance to play, and it was you had a situation we didn't have a safety for a while, but finally they get that taken care of. 1:43 left to go in the contest. Bombers leading 30-0.
You bet. Some new players in the game. Number 20, that is...
I believe that's Matthews.
You bet, Scott Matthews.
And number 52, Allen, the other linebacker there.
J.D. Thayer.
That's Thayer, and it would be incomplete as it was intended for Beard. And Blake Bolton almost had the chance to pick that up on the interception. That will bring up a 2nd and 10. The ball at the 20, about the 26-yard line. As we're scrambling, trying to get the names on some players.
You bet. We got number 85, John Mitchell, in there now. Number 43, Jim Bob Rimple.
Clarence Allen also in there. He's been playing offense. Hasn't played a lot of defense tonight.
66, James Charles in the game.
And we'll bring up a 2nd and 10, 1:25, and the clock running. Hand off to Seifert, and he has some running room now as he's brought down by Bolton at the 40, and that's really the first time that Brandon Seifert has been able to have any running room whatsoever in this contest, and that's with about 1:20 left to go in the game.
You bet. A lot of these young players getting to go into the game. There goes number 82, Brett Riggins in. Number 55 back in the ball game, Dusty Blankenship, making a lot of changes, letting some of these young men get some experience.
And it will be a 1st and 10 as Seifert's able to get that 1st down. And Brian Seifert looks deep, and it's going to be intended for Brandon Seifert along the right sideline, and it's way over his head, incomplete.
You bet, Mike. Clock down to 55 seconds remaining in the ball game. Frederick ahead, 30-0.
And Coach Jones trying to get some of these second-team backup players in the ball game and to get them to react to the pass. And I tell you what, they're doing real well against a very, very talented passing offense.
Right, Mike. They're still throwing the ball well. They're going to try to get that ball in the end zone if there's any way. Number 72, Jeremy Roberts, in the game for the Bombers.
and it will be a 2nd and 10 with 55 seconds. There's the option play with Brian Seifert. He had some running room across the middle. Now and Blake Botham makes a touchdown-saving tackle at the 35-yard line. Our Brian Seifert on the option would have been able to go all the way on that.
You bet, Mike. Good run up the middle. A lot of these guys in this game now haven't got to play a lot of varsity this year. They're in there to learn, and that's what that kind of play will do. It'll teach them something.
And you can see right now, Alan, why Coach Jones went ahead and tried to keep the ball, because the Indians are moving the ball very well. And Michael Beard catches it still on his feet at the 30 and then down across the 25 to the 24-yard line. And I can tell you, the Plainview Indians, this is a character touchdown for them right now.
You bet, Mike. They're, like we've mentioned several times earlier tonight, most of them seniors, and boy, they're not wanting to go out with a 0 on that scoreboard.
Brian Seifert at tailback, Brandon at tailback. There's a pass at the end zone, and it's incomplete, as Carpenter went up along with Beard, and both of them had a chance, along with Cook, and both of them had a chance at the 1-yard line, and the ball rose into the end zone incomplete. That was close to a Hail Mary pass, but it stops the clock with 24 seconds. 2nd and 10, ball at the 20-yard line.
Mike,
23.
Ball thrown pretty well down there. Jake goes up for it at about the same time the Plainview receiver does. They collide in midair. The ball goes to the ground. 24 seconds left in the ball game.
And it's 2nd and 10 here in the closing seconds. There's a pass to the end zone. It is knocked away at the last second by Jim Bob Rimple. And it looked like it was going to be complete to, I believe that was number 84. It's 24, Cook, intended for him. And it looked like it was going to be complete. Jim Bob Rimple coming in, doing a good job, knocking that ball away with 17 seconds left in the contest. Bombers leading 30-0.
Right, Mike. 3rd and 10. Plainview just throwing the ball up more out of desperation, I think, now than anything. Trying desperately to get that ball into that end zone.
Long setback will be the fullback Faulkner, and Seifert, Brian Seifert, the quarterback, runs the option play, and he'll be stopped at the 20-yard line, maybe across to the 19.
That little number 70, Derek Miller, again showing his speed and quickness on that line, bringing him down.
And that will be a 4th down, and we'll call it a long 6. 7 seconds left to go in the ball game. And this is one of those situations where the Plainview Indians just want to get the ball in the end zone and have an opportunity to have some points on this against this Frederick Bomber team. They sure don't want. That's something that normally coaches agree to have game films. Neither the Newcastle coach or the Plainview coach, Eddie Paul, or August Dietz, neither one of them would allow the Frederick Bombers to have the game film. So, I think Coach Jones is pretty upset, but all's gone for naught is they've not had much trouble with the Indians. 7 seconds left to go as Brian Cook goes in motion. Seifert is looking. Now he's going to throw across the middle, and he has Brian Cook there, incomplete, as the ball hit him right in the number, that was number 81. It was not Cook. It was Tim Eubanks, and hit him right in the numbers, but it falls incomplete. That's the ball game. Bombers win 30-0. Let's take a we won't take a 30-minute timeout, but we'll take a 3-minute timeout. We'll be back with the wrap-up show and the final statistics. Bombers get a win, 30-0. Stay with us. We'll be back in 3 minutes. You're listening to KYB 95.9 Frederick.
wrong end. One of the wildest college bowl endings you will ever see.